Good afternoon, I'm Charles Lejano. This is One News Now. Controversial U.S. Marine Joseph Scott Pemberton is just a few steps away from regaining his freedom. Let's get some details from Pat Mangune. She's reporting to us live from Camp Aguinaldo, Quezon City. Pat, could you give us the latest on Pemberton?
Charles, U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton is now under the custody of the Bureau of Immigration. But the convicted soldier will have to remain at his detention facility here in Camp Aguinaldo while the BI works on his deportation. Just before noon today, the Corrections Bureau turned Pemberton over to the custody of immigration officials. At the same time, Bucre's custodial officers assigned to guard him were pulled out from the detention facility and replaced by those from the BI. The convicted American soldier will remain in Camp Aguinaldo while his deportation documents are being finalized. His camp will still need to submit clearances from the Investigation Bureau and the local court that gave his conviction as proof that he no longer has pending cases in the country. After which, the BI will facilitate the issuance of his travel documents and arrange his flight itinerary back to the US. Only then can Pemberton be escorted by immigration agents to the airport. Charles, if the camp of Pemberton is able to accomplish all the requirements, it is possible, officials say, that he will be released or deported within this weekend. Charles?
Thanks for that, Pat. That was Pat Mangune reporting live from Camp Aguinaldo in Quezon City. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara refuses to comment on claims that the presidential pardon granted to Pemberton was in exchange for COVID-19 vaccines from the US. In a text message, Guevara said he can no longer speculate on President Duterte's motives, as the chief executive has already explained his reason. When asked about how the GCTA law applies to US soldiers, the SOJ explained that the measure covers all convicts, including foreigners, unless otherwise provided in any legislation. The Health Department has released the tentative timeline for the country's participation in the World Health Organization's Solidarity Trials. The DOH said the W.H.O will name participating vaccines by around the 3rd or 4th week of September. The department aims to identify trial sites by the end of the month, while health officials plan to begin the trials on the last week of October. The DOH notes that this timeline is subject to change depending on several factors. Meanwhile, COVID-19 cases in the country have surged to nearly 253,000. This as the Health Department reported more than 4,000 new COVID-19 cases on Friday. There are now 62,250 active cases in the country. 42 new COVID-related fatalities were also recorded, pushing the death toll to over 4,100. Total recoveries now stand at around 186,600, with over 560 new survivors logged over the past 24 hours. The Transportation Department and the IATF have approved a measure that will ease physical distancing protocols inside public utility vehicles. To give us details, Gerard de la Peña is reporting to us live from Mandaluyong. Gerard, we're talking about physical distancing while commuting. What exactly do they want to implement?
Well, Charles, officials want to reduce the prescribed distance between passengers inside buses and trains. The aim here is to provide more space for more passengers as the economy gradually reopens. In a presentation to the IATF, the DOTR said that passengers continue to observe the minimum health standards, such as strictly following health protocols, such as the mandatory wearing of face masks and face shields. That gives the agency the confidence that it is now safe to ease up physical distancing rules. As of now, there is a 1 meter gap in between seats inside trains and buses. The DOTR wants to reduce this to 0.75 meters. The distance will be decreased to half a meter after 2 weeks and to just 0.3 meters eventually. Transportation officials also plan to allow standing passengers inside buses. Dr. Anthony Leachon, who was previously a consultant to the IATF, said the matter has to be thoroughly studied. Leachon explained that the same move led to the second wave of COVID-19 cases in South Korea. Meanwhile, the Health Department said they have yet to discuss the plan. The proposal is supposed to be implemented on Monday, but the DOTR said they will postpone it until matters are cleared among various stakeholders. So, Charles, just to illustrate, This is 0.3 meters, and this is going to be the distance between passengers inside buses and trains several weeks from now if the plan pushes through. So the DOTR said that they will just inform the public maybe next week as to when this measure will be implemented after its meeting with the IATF and the DOH. Charles.
Thanks for that, Gerard. That was Gerard de la Peña reporting live from Mandaluyong. We'll have more stories after this short break. Keep it here. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Progressive House lawmakers are pushing for a measure that would boost the country's economic recovery efforts. They're also asking the Duterte administration to rethink its priorities amid the pandemic. Ria Fernandez tells us the group's concerns in this report.
The Makabayan bloc at the lower house scores the Duterte administration's quote, subservient policies toward powerful countries. In a presser this morning, the minority group questioned the government's move to allow China-backed Dito Telecommunity to install towers in military camps. This while recalling the broadcast frequencies of Filipino-owned ABS-CBN following the congressional denial of its franchise bid.
Ano ba sila, mga ignorante ba sila na yung tower na to ay hindi magsisilbing magiging daan din para maano yung ating security?
Minority lawmakers also slammed President Duterte's move to grant absolute pardon to U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton. The American soldier who killed Filipino transgender woman Jennifer Laude in 2014 is now inching towards his much-awaited freedom.
Nailantad ngayon ang balat kayong independent foreign policy at kunwaring pagwawakas sa VFA o Visiting Forces Agreement na binawi din naman ng presidente.
The group also hit the proposal to make late dictator Ferdinand Marcos' September 11 birthday a holiday in Ilocos Norte. The progressive lawmakers urged the government to keep its focus on addressing the COVID-19 pandemic. This as they spotted misplaced priorities in its proposed 4.5 trillion peso national budget for 2021. Among these is the huge lump sum allocation for counterinsurgency and infrastructure projects. The Makabayan lawmakers are pushing for an alternative economic stimulus fund dubbed as the People's Strategy for Strengthening Health, Social Protection, Economic and Local Industrial Development or SHIELD bill. The measure is priced at worth over 1 trillion pesos.
Merong mga stratehikong mga panukala rito, no, mga programa na sa tingin namin ay talagang maging solusyon doon sa nakaugat ng problema ng ating pangkalusugan, ng ating pang-ekonomiya.
Among its salient provisions are the 14-day paid quarantine leave and free COVID treatment for employees. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, we are One News.
Militant fishers group Pamalakaya staged a jogging and biking protest against dolomite dumping at the Baywalk in Rojas Boulevard earlier today. The group warned that dumping white sand onto the shore could destroy the marine environment and affect the livelihood of thousands of fisherfolk across Manila Bay. That's why Pamalakaya is calling for the immediate termination of the project.
Panawagan po namin yung 389 million na budget dito sa pagtambak ng dolomite ay ilaan sa mangrove reforestation. Sa pag-aaral, batay sa research ng Pamalakaya Pilipinas ay aabot sa mga mahigit 13,000 hektarya ang matatamnan nito.
Consumers are urged to conserve water as more service interruptions are in the offing. This as the water level in Angat Dam continues to dip. Shaila Francisco with the details.
Since July, the water level in Angat Dam has been decreasing. As of today, it stands at 178.1 meters, just below the minimum operating level of 180 meters.
Yung mga rainfall na supposedly padating, no, inaasahan dumating yung July and August ay hindi nakarating, hindi na-realize, no, based sa projection ng Pag-asa. So halos wala pa yatang kalahati, no, yung pinoproject natin.
With this, the National Water Resources Board or NWRB decided to decrease the allocation of Angat Dam for Metro Manila this month. Allaying fears of supply shortage, the board noted that there are other sources available, such as the La Mesa Dam and Laguna Lake, especially with local rainfalls now being experienced in these areas.
Even noong August, kahit 48 yun, hindi naman nagamit lahat yun, ano? If you look at the record, I think, 48 noong August, ang NWSS, siguro nagamit lang niya mga 45.
Meanwhile, Maynilad will once again implement water interruption next week beginning Thursday night. Around 249,000 households will be affected by a 14 to 24-hour service interruption.
Pagka northeast monsoon po kasi, ang direksyon ng tubig, ang direksyon ng hangin doon sa Laguna Lake is papunta po doon sa planta namin. So meaning po, mas na-i-scar po niya yung mga sills doon sa Laguna Lake at nagko-cause po ng mas maduming tubig na pumapasok sa amin. So ipine-prepare lang po namin yung aming planta na kaya po niya matreat itong mas challenging na raw water quality.
Maynilad assures the public that there will also be security personnel during the deployment of water tankers to ensure physical distancing. For now, Maynilad is advising affected customers to store water. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
More updates. Follow News 5, the Philippine Star and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for in-depth analysis. And you can catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com. Stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.